A user on my channel, BP69, asked me a question recently about how hard the silicon carbide stones I use are and how quickly do they wear. Hardness is kind of hard to describe if you haven't had a lot of experience with stones. This is a Nanowa 400. This is one of the harder stones that I consider in that scale. It wears really slow and it's hard to gouge. Now, that's not to say it will not gouge. If I invert the knife at an absurd angle and put pressure, I can shave this stone. I'm not sure how well that's going to show up. Let me do a little. So I've got green mud on the tip of my knife. So I can gouge this stone with enough pressure and with the right angle. This is the Gritomatic 240 grit silicon carbide. I would put this stone, as well as the other two, on the same hardness scale as I would the Nanowa Pro 400. Will it gouge? Sure. You put an awkward angle on it and apply pressure, and you're going to get the stone to gouge. Let's see, there's again mud on the tip of my knife here. So how fast does it wear? Well, it's difficult to say. The first time I flattened this stone was after, I'd say, around 10 or 15 knives. It really didn't need it because it wasn't out of flat. The thing is with these stones, they are so quick, you're not really using them for extended periods. Take into account how hard they are, and in my opinion, that makes them very slow wearing stones. The same can be said for all three of these stones. Now this is the 1K stone. Again, put an awkward angle on it, apply pressure, you can gouge the stone. It's not much, it's just shaving off that top layer of abrasive, but it's enough that it can gouge. Now, I have my angle pretty high right here, and I've got no worries of the stone leaving track marks or deep gouges. So the stone's hard enough to withstand, and I am applying a little pressure here. So the stone is stout enough that you can apply pressure at high angles and not have to worry about damaging it. I can go at an absurd angle, apply pressure, and I don't have to worry about gouging it. Now, I said I would put all three of these stones in the same hardness I would the Nanowa Pro 400. I would put this 2500 grit stone in that same category, although it does have just a little bit more softness. It can be gouged a little bit easier, but it's not a real noticeable difference. If I had to compare this to another stone, this is closer to, say, a Nanowa 1K. That's strictly talking about hardness. Don't get that confused with how silky smooth that stone is or how silky smooth the Nanowa Pro is. These silicon carbide stones are aggressive. They do have an aggressive nature to them, and when you sharpen on them, you feel that. Now, because these stones are so quick and aggressive, you don't spend a whole lot of time on them. It's just been my experience that when I sharpen a knife, including Maximate, which is really abrasion resistant, when I sharpen a knife on these stones, it takes less than 40 passes per side and I'm ready to move on. So if you sharpen 10 knives and we'll estimate 30 passes, you sharpen 10 knives, 30 passes, it's 300 passes per stone. That's not a lot, but I don't let my stones go that far before I usually condition them. It's just a habit I have. I'll take my stones and I'll condition the surface so that they cut quicker and have more of an aggressive texture. If you guys have any questions or comments, as always, leave them below. I appreciate you watching. Y'all have a good one.